Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Ready? Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Marnie Sanders, and I'm the CEO of the Yuba-Sutter Chamber of Commerce, and it is a pleasure to be here tonight hosting the Sutter County Candidate Forum. I would like to give a special thanks to Feather River Academy for allowing us to use this space this evening to host the forum. And I'd also like to thank our partners, the Appeal Democrat, for helping us with this endeavor to host our candidate forum here tonight. And we will have one for Yuba County on Wednesday night at 6 o'clock at the Yuba County Government Center as well. Be sure also to check out the Appeal Democrat in the coming days. The questions and the responses will be printed in the paper and online as well. So we also have live stream going, so you'll be able to watch this back if you'd like to. And hello to the folks out watching on live stream right now. So at this point, I am going to introduce Nicole Rogers, who is a Chamber Board member, and she is also the chair of our Government Affairs Committee. And she's going to just go over the format for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Marnie. Okay, so tonight we'll have two separate races. Both have the same basic format. We'll start out with questions going to candidates running for the Sutter County Board of Supervisors, Director 2, Dan Flores, Incumbent, and Courtney Ortega. And then from there, each candidate will have 90 seconds to answer their questions. We'll have 90 seconds for opening statements. Then we'll have a series of questions from the audience. The committee has put together some questions. If you do have questions that you'd like considered, please raise your hand. Jackie has comment cards. We can pass those out for you. For those of you on live stream, if you have any questions, just put your questions in the comment box and we'll get to those as well. We do ask that you keep your questions brief, and please make sure for your questions that you address them to both candidates. We can't consider questions directed to only one candidate, so be mindful of that. We've already put together several questions for this evening, so we do apologize in advance if we don't get to your question. We will do our best. We'll probably have time for about 10 questions or so. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question. Rebuttals will be allowed only if there is a reference to particular opposing candidates in another candidate's answer. Those rebuttals will be allowed 30 seconds. At the end of the questions, each candidate will have up to 2 minutes for a closing statement. No rebuttals will be allowed during that time. Candidates, please direct your attention to Miss Jackie, our timekeeper. She has 3 cards, one that says 30 seconds, one that says 15 seconds, and then one that says time's up. We do ask that you be respectful of everyone's time and keep within your time limit. I'd like to give a special thank you to our Candidate Forum Committee who worked tirelessly to put this event on. Thank you so much, Robert Suma, Bob Harlan, Jackie Lee, and Marnie Sanders for all of your hard work. Tonight, our moderators are Mr. Robert Suma, editor of Appeal Democrat, and Bob Harlan, executive director of the Yuba-Sutter-Colusa United Way. Both of which have donated many hours to determine the issues pertinent to Sutter County and bring you tonight's forum. So with that, I will take it over, and I know you're going to need my mic, so here you go.
Okay, well, thank you very much. A pleasure to be here tonight, and what a wonderful turnout. I've been doing these for 32 years, and I don't believe we've had a turnout this big before. So I hope that you'll enjoy the event tonight and get lots of questions answered. So we're going to start with an opening statement, and we'll start with Dan Flores. Dan, you have up to 90 seconds.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Kudos to the Appeal Democrat and the Yuba-Sutter Chamber of Commerce for organizing this event tonight. The reason I'm seeking a third term as your Sutter County Supervisor is I have roots in this community, and I want to see it continue to succeed. I want to share with you some of the good things that have happened in the county over the last few years. The county purchased the Kmart complex last year. The current tenants cover a good portion of the expenses of the building, and we have developers interested. The value of the property is much higher than the purchase price, making the property a great investment for the county. The current budget is balanced and lower than the prior year, which is not normal in government these days at all. We now have a solution to clear the unfunded liability in as short as 15 years. Nobody wants to pay more taxes, and I'm not in favor of spending too much money that you have to keep raising max taxes. However, I do feel that a good portion of the tax dollars should be spent on public safety, law enforcement, and fire. The 2nd District is showing great recovery after COVID-19. There's a new hotel being built, some new restaurants, some expanding restaurants, a new interior design store right on Plymouth Street. There are some new apartments being built, a new health clinic in the 2nd District. And existing businesses tell me that they are very successful right now coming out of COVID. So I want to continue to move Sutter County forward.
Okay, thank you very much. And our next opening statement from Courtney Ortega.
Good evening. My name is Courtney Ortega. I'm running for District 2 Supervisor because of my conviction to provide a better service for this county. We need to hold our elected officials accountable for the service they provide and the tax dollars they consume. Sutter County deserves leaders who are wholeheartedly dedicated to serving Sutter County. We are troubled with an inability to properly address the growing number of homeless and transient people in our community. The county needs to prioritize public safety departments to ensure we are protected from crime. Our government needs to be ran more efficiently rather than asking taxpayers for more money. We must be more transparent, more accessible, and more representative of the people who live here. I have a background in community service. I have worked with the most vulnerable populations through nonprofit work in developing nations and teaching children with atypical learning abilities. I have experience in the legislative process working as a staffer and lobbying bills at the Oregon State Legislature. I have a degree in political science, and for the past year and a half, I have been working in the local community to aid in reopening our county amidst the COVID shutdowns. I have the heart, energy, and time to commit to serving this community tirelessly, as well as the ethics and commitment to transparency to honor the people of Sutter County. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to both candidates. And now we're going to go through a series of questions, and if you want to turn in a question card, you may do so. However, be aware that we do have a lot of questions already turned in, as well as from our staff at the Appeal Democrat, readers of the Appeal Democrat, also members of the Chamber of Commerce have submitted questions as well. So we're going to go ahead and start with question number 1, and that will be of Dan Flores, and Robert Suma is going to ask the first question.
All right. First, I just want to say thank you, Courtney and Dan, for coming. It's really important. So many people are here. It's really nice to see that a lot of people are here that care about this community, the election process, and just trying to make Yuba-Sutter better. It's really encouraging to see so many people that actually care about this. So I just want to thank everybody for being here, and I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate both of you for accepting and doing this. First question: what is your vision for the future of Sutter County?
Thank you for asking the question, and I'm very excited about the future of Sutter County. We've had so many things that we've done just over the past few years that we built the foundation for some great economic growth, some really great economic growth especially. We have Sutter Point coming online, which will be 7,500 acres and 3,500 new homes down the south side of Sutter County. We have a new tax agreement that I negotiated with the city of Yuba City for the development of the Bogue-Stewart master plan, which will be new housing within Sutter County itself. And I can just say that I'm just very optimistic about the overall growth and just excited about what we have coming into the future.
Okay, Courtney?
Thank you. I would like to see us get our spending under control. I would like to see us prioritize the departments in our county which we fund. I would like to see us increase the amount of funding which we give to public safety and possibly change some departments which are unnecessary to nonprofit organizations so that we can get our funding or spending under control. The best way that government can support business is to get out of the way or to be a good steward and help them get what they need. First of all, businesses will not go where homelessness and addiction are out of control, and we need to get this in control, first of all. We can attract new businesses to come to the area by creating Sutter to be an economically friendly zone. We could streamline our permit process or reduce fees, and we can make it easy and attractive for businesses to come here and for existing citizens to start their own businesses.
Thank you very much. Kind of following up on that first question, looking back at the things that you would like to see happen, what challenges are preventing progress in Sutter County? Dan?
The only challenge that I know that's preventing progress in Sutter County is ourselves. We can do great things if we believe in ourselves as a county, and if we do that and just alone, that will be the biggest thing that we can do overall. Our lack of confidence to build further and be strong economically and be leaders within the state, we need to improve upon that, and that's what I see.
Okay, Courtney?
We should be selling or trying to make revenue off of real estate, which we are not using, like the Kmart building. This building has cost our county $12 million, and we have nothing to show for it. Instead of investing in real estate or capital like new vehicles, which we can lease when we need them, we could be investing into systems that could be saving us money. We can focus on investments over expenditures. I would also focus on growing the private sector. We have the highest budget over the past 2 years, and we still have no money. There's a county survey out right now which talks about cutting funding from public safety. Why does the county need to cut funding from public safety? These should be our top priorities.
Housing is a big issue, obviously, in California. Yuba-Sutter is no different. How would you make sure more affordable housing is available in the county? Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Housing is definitely an issue, and in Sutter County, we've tackled the issue by producing new housing. We built multiple housing around the area, and we're going to continue to do so. So we have plans to continue doing it. I'm looking because there's the names of all the housing that we've actually put together, but just in the past short period of time, we built the Harmony Village Home Key project with 62 rooms for affordable housing. This project's been strongly embraced by the neighbors and has been very highly successful. We've worked closely with the city of Yuba City to provide a new housing project called New Haven over on Garden Highway. This has also been a very highly successful project. We will continue to build affordable housing to meet the needs of our citizens as we go forward.
Courtney?
The reason our county needs affordable housing is because our citizens cannot afford to live here. There should be no reason why the county would have plans to raise taxes right now. California has passed a law which allows for second units to be made available in houses. We could advertise this option to homeowners who could do garage conversions and renovations, and this could make more money for people who would be renting out their units and allow for more prospective renters to have units to move into.
Okay, and our next question, we'll start with Courtney. And how would you work with other groups such as the Sacramento Area Council of Governments to bring economic development to our area?
So groups like SACOG and GSEG, these are important groups because they help us develop relationships with other counties like Sacramento, and they help us to be relevant to these communities so they consider us when they're developing. However, we need to make sure that we're prioritizing Sutter County over the greater Sacramento area. So we are not Placer County, we are not Sacramento County. Our general plan focuses on agriculture, and we need to remember that that is our bread and butter of this community. And so we need to make sure that we're representing the people who live here accurately when we think about things like development, especially when we build partnerships with Sacramento.
Dan?
I'm sorry, Bob, did you say GSEC as well, or was that just SACOG?
Well, it could be CSAC. It says, how would you work with other groups such as Sacramento Area Council of Governments to bring economic development to our area?
Great, thank you. For the last 7 years, or for 6 out of the 7 years that I've served on the Board of Supervisors, I served on the Sacramento Area Council of Governments, and I've also served on GSEC. Just so you know, it's called the Greater Sacramento Economic Council. So those are a variety of councils. Another word is the California State Association of Counties. But on SACOG especially, basically you think of it this way: it's the greasy or the squeaky wheel that gets the grease, and we need to be involved in SACOG as much as we can. It's a very competitive process that allows us to obtain funding for the roads, for instance, that we built going from Yuba City all the way to the airport, that makes it more accessible, and for many other projects that are lined up through SACOG. Through Greater Sacramento Economic Council, we're represented economically, and we go to the region, we go to the state, and we go to national. We're represented nationally so that we can obtain funding for multiple projects within economic development. So I've been a proud member of all of those organizations the last 7 years.
All right, this question is for Dan. Across the river, across the bridge, Marysville has a dispensary for marijuana, which they receive a good amount of sales tax for. However, they don't allow commercial cannabis to be grown in the county. What is your stance on growing or selling recreational marijuana in the county?
Well, I will tell you that in the city of Marysville that it's very profitable, and it works out well for the city of Marysville the way that it's done. Now, I've heard that it works out well in some jurisdictions, and it doesn't work out well in other jurisdictions. So it's a little bit more complicated than how we just respond and say, are we for it or against it? I think that right now the Sutter County is considering the growth of cannabis and potentially distribution of cannabis for the future. It offsets a lot of tax costs and taxes, so it's something to look at, but it doesn't mean that Sutter County is going to accept it. Ultimately, it's up to the people of Sutter County to decide whether or not cannabis would be something that we'd want to consider in the county itself.
Courtney?
Like Dan mentioned, it's very important for elected representatives to represent the local constituency. So it is important to check with local constituency on what they think about things. But I come from a community who is very pro-marijuana, and that community today is ruined in Oregon. It has increased homelessness, it's increased crime, it's increased dropout rates in students, and so that is something that for me, I will not support any growing or any sales of marijuana in a community. I think it does nothing positive for the community.
Another question from the audience. If you are familiar with the 2021 grand jury report on the Kmart building purchase, what are your thoughts on the consolidation of services? Do you approve? Courtney?
So the Kmart building that was purchased in 2017 under the leadership of my opponent, Dan Flores, the county began leasing the Kmart building, and this took the building off of generating sales tax and property tax for the community. They started renting for $200,000 a year, and then 3 years later bought it for $8 million. So now the county has started a homeless parking lot trial in the middle of town with this building. If I'm elected, I will sell this building.
Dan?
So the county purchased an eyesore. The Kmart building was a boarded up building for nearly half a decade. That it was an opportunity for us, or one of the priorities for the board was to purchase a building for consolidation. We have 1,000 employees in over 20 locations, driving around 2 million vehicle miles a year. Do the math, folks. If you take 2 million vehicle miles, the cost of that is really expensive. So we purchased the building to consolidate the offices and save money and consolidate the services. And this in the long run will happen. It's just something that takes more time than expected. And at the end of the day, it is one of the better investments that the county has made.
Okay, Dan. Obviously, we are just now sort of getting out of a pandemic. Obviously, there was debate in this county, in this country, in the state about what should be done to protect the health of citizens. Should another COVID surge or other pandemic occur, what would you do to help protect the health of the residents of Sutter County? Dan.
Thank you, Robert. I would do exactly what we did. We addressed the issues as they came along. Nobody was ready or prepared for a pandemic, has never gone through a pandemic before. But we rolled up our sleeves, we learned the best we can, we learned the best science we could for all that we did. And then we did the, we actually did not do any mandates. We did educate, make sure the citizens were educated and not mandating any of the processes. And then the biggest thing we did was support the businesses as we came out of COVID and be able to provide them a leg up so that they could move on and succeed. And right now, they are succeeding. And the businesses that I hear from, they thank me all the time for the support that we provided during the COVID pandemic.
Courtney?
I think that this county could have done a lot better during the COVID shutdowns or the COVID mandates. Millennium Fund Center, a key thing for children to do here, closed down and actually moved out of the state. We had citizens who were put on house arrest essentially because of positive PCR tests. Ultimately, we are afforded rights by the U.S. Constitution, and those are the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the freedom of press, the freedom of assembly, and the freedom to petition the government. Our county meetings were closed down to the public. They could not go in and address the government with their grievances in person. I think all of this stuff should have been changed. It should have been different. The people of this county are smart enough and care enough about themselves and other people to keep themselves safe. And if they're sick, they're smart enough to stay home. I would give people the right to choose what and to what level of these mandates that they wanted to follow.
Okay, moving on to our next question. We'll start with Courtney. And I'm going to have to reword it because I'll do the best I can. What resources and solutions do you believe in to address the homeless situation, and especially those homeless who do not want help and have mental issues?
So over 1,000 employees work for Sutter County. Half of them work for Health and Human Services. How do we not have a solution to this problem? Over 500 people come to work every day in Sutter County to support our most vulnerable population. The majority of people who are homeless have fallen on hard times or suffer from an addiction or mental illness. They are motivated to be rehabilitated with help. This needs to be something that is gone after actively. We need to be involved in outreach in this community to see what each person's issue is and how we can get each person help and on the road to rehabilitation or in contact with loved ones.
Yeah.
So the challenges are definitely drug addiction and behavioral health issues that we're facing. Coming up with solutions to them is something that we've worked on diligently over the past several years, but if you look around the whole state and around the whole country, you'll see that the homeless problem has been growing substantially. We were mandated by the state of California to provide housing as a housing first solution. We did some housing and we did provide some of those solutions, but until we address behavioral health and until we address the mental illness and drug addictions, this will be a challenge going forward. We have worked, again, diligently on it, and we'll continue to try to find solutions to those issues.
Thank you. Dan, Give your opinion on if the county is overstaffed or understaffed, and what changes would you be pushing for if elected?
So we've done a lot of analysis on this over the past several years as well. The county has nearly 1,000 employees. It is a lean staff for the population that we actually have. So we want to continue to support our staff. They work very hard in what they do. They're dedicated to their jobs, and we want to continue to support them.
Courtney?
So since my opponent has been in office, the county budget has increased by 60%, from $255 million to $410 million. The unrestricted general fund, which my opponent is directly responsible for, has increased by $20 million since he's been in office. What does the county have to show for that money? We need to be doing better. The overall spending needs to slow down and begin to decrease. We need to be smart about reducing our budget and being thoughtful as to how we're spending. I would work to develop financial systems to learn how we can consolidate positions and cut down our spending. Ultimately, it's not a personal attack, it's a professional attack, and we need to be responsible for taxpayers' money, and we need to be responsible for our own spending.
Okay, our next question is for Courtney. How do you feel about our community as being unified, and how would you make our community more unified?
I think that we have a unified community. I think that one of the best things about this community is the diversity of it. Sutter County is home to people of a lot of different backgrounds. We have a thriving Sikh population. We have a Latter-day Saints temple that just went up in downtown. We have a huge Christian population here. And I think our community is so diverse multiculturally and just in thought and background and what we like to do. I think that this is a wonderful place to live, and I think that we are unified. For a community that has so many differences, we're extremely unified community.
The Yuba-Sutter community is very unified. It's great to live here and be a part of this community and be a part of the different nonprofit organizations. I've been involved with the Kiwanis, I've been involved with my own church, and just being involved with all the variety of organizations and cultural festivals and things that we have here. But not only are we unified here, we're unified with our neighbors across the river in Yuba County. So it's just great to be in this area and be able to work together.
All right, thank you. Dan, what is your definition of a good supervisor?
A good supervisor is one who watches over the budget very carefully. A good supervisor is one who's available to the citizens of Sutter County and makes himself or herself available to them at all times. A good supervisor is one who makes sure that they are dedicated to the growth of the community overall, and our role is to serve and protect the people of Sutter County, and to be dedicated to that. I take that job very seriously, and it's important that we do that.
Courtney?
So a good supervisor has time, the time that it takes to dedicate themselves to this community. A good supervisor has conviction and ethics to support this community with the ethics that it needs, and accessibility. So that's transparency, and that's the ability for the people who, the constituents, the people who the supervisor represents, to be able to meet with them, to be able to attend meetings where they can have their voice heard readily. And the supervisor needs to be responsible for the tax money that they are given. They need to be a good steward of finances, and they need to protect the rights of the people who live in the community. That's the number one purpose of a supervisor.
And another question from our audience. Trucking has been a big issue in our community, Dan, or Courtney and Dan. We have, of course, the issue along Highway 99 south of Berry Road. What is your feeling about the trucking situation? Courtney?
Trucking is one of our largest local industries. Trucking business owners provide jobs for locals and tax revenue. Since my opponent took office, it's been very much a good old boys club where certain business owners get preferential treatment and others get put through the ringer. We need to be working with these business owners and ensuring everyone plays by the same rules. We need to make sure business owners can obtain permits in a reasonable time and foster communication and relationships so they are aware of requirements they need to keep growing their businesses, which will help our entire community.
Dan?
Trucking is a very important industry, and it's one that's been growing in our area with jobs and opportunities, and it's really helped the area in terms of those jobs. So it's really important that we plan where those trucking yards are going to be situated, and they're going to continue to grow. So we have to prioritize where they end up growing. We have to plan appropriately for that.
All right, thank you. Dan, what should be done to get more people involved with decisions made by the county?
We continue to hold town halls. I know some of my colleagues are here today, and it's really important that we continue to hold those town halls and involve everybody we can. We keep the county abreast with our websites, our meetings that are live and open to everyone to attend. So we will continue on with those processes and keep on keeping on with it.
Courtney?
We can involve more people from diverse backgrounds through general inclusivity. We can make sure opportunities for involvement are broadcasted to the public. If there are committee openings, we should be advertising those well. We can also make sure that meetings are at times when people are able to attend. For example, in the evening when people are off work.
Okay, thanks you to both of you for answering our 11 or 12 questions. These went quickly, and I really appreciate the brief, concise answers from both candidates. We're going to move to our closing statements, and we'd like to have the first closing statement be by Courtney Ortega. And you have up to 2 minutes.
Thank you. After 8 years of the incumbent, the county is falling apart financially. Even though the county is at a record high total budget and a record high general fund budget, our sheriff and fire departments are understaffed and underpaid. Roads are not being repaired, and vagrants and squatters continue to plague our second district businesses. Instead of selling assets and cutting non-essential services, the county is now looking to increase taxes of our already financially burdened citizens. What is going on here? Why are there not more reasonable solutions and practices in place? Why are we not being responsible with our spending, selling assets we don't need, and cutting funding to programs that aren't essential? I will work tirelessly to put this county back into financial order. I will decrease spending and sell assets so that we won't need to increase taxes while keeping the programs we need properly funded. I will find creative solutions to our many county problems and work with partners in the community to ensure we are doing a good job by everyone's standards. We will work on reducing our huge budget and work on consolidating positions. Good enough for government work will never be our motto under my leadership. My motto is only working for you. Sutter County deserves leaders dedicated to Sutter County. I am Courtney Ortega, and I would be honored to be your next supervisor.
Dan?
I believe every decision must be based on what is the interest of the community, both short and long term. Decisions should not be made that only benefit a select few, but everyone. A supervisor should not grandstand or cater to special interest groups or pet projects, but do the right thing, even if it's not always easy. Knowledge and experience on the ins and outs of the county, its budget, and how it operates and is managed is critical. Idealistic visions that are not based in fact and reality only cause slowdowns and interfere with getting things done in the county. Wasting time on negativity is counterproductive, and I will not waste that time. A purely idealistic person does not make an effective leader. I believe the residents of Sutter County deserve a supervisor who has the experience and the ability to see them safely through all the challenges a community faces, like evacuations and floods and fires and budgetary restraints, and always respond to their needs. They deserve a leader that takes an active role in obtaining grants and discovering economic opportunities available from state and federal sources. Having served on the Greater Economic Council, Sacramento Area Council of Governments, and the Economic Development Committee and Health and Human Services for many years has given me firsthand knowledge to access benefits in our county. I want to see taxes we pay come back to our community. In 2019, I earned a master's degree in public administration to further my knowledge. I'm honored to be endorsed by Congressman LaMalfa, Senator Nielsen, Assemblyman Gallagher, and Yuba City Councilman Sean Harris, and many members of this community. I love this county. My wife and I have owned businesses here. Our children went to school here. We raised our family here. I care about our community, and I want to see it grow, and I want to see it prosper. And I'd be honored to serve you.
Okay, a round of applause for both of our candidates this evening. Thank you both very much, and we're going to take about a 10-minute break until 5 minutes before the hour, and we'll start our next forum.